As we are moving through Wrath of the Lich King Classic, I think a lot of people notice that gold is important, and even though doing daily activities such as dungeons, raids, and even daily quests will grant you a decent amount of gold, sometimes you have to farm out a little bit extra to be able to buy those consumables for raiding and enchants for your new gear pieces. Today I will go through my personal top 10 gold farms for WOTLK Classic in 2023, and hopefully some of these farms will help you out in your gold farming adventures as well. I also have a lot more gold farms listed in my WOTLK Classic Gold Guide, which you can check out through a link in the video description and the pinned comment, and over there you can also get access to a private gold making community where we discuss gold making, gold farming and investing, and a lot of people over there have already made hundreds of thousands of gold in WOTLK Classic. So here we go. Number 10, the Hyperspawn Humanoid Farm in Icecrown. I don't have a particularly interesting name for this farm just yet, but it's basically a Hyperspawn Humanoid farm located in the Icecrown zone, in the north middle part of the zone basically, and these mobs respawn super quickly. Being a force spawn and a Hyperspawn farm, you can farm here by yourself and literally never run out of mobs. And you can also be 2 to 3 people farming together separately and still never run out of mobs thanks to the hyperspawn mechanic. The mobs are pretty spread out though, making this the perfect farm for anyone with AoE and distance pulling abilities, like for example boomkins, warlocks, shadow priests and hunters, maybe even mages, and my absolute favorite class for this farm is the warlock, as there is basically no downtime involved if you're playing a warlock. Number 9, another semi-hyperspawn farm in the northwestern island of Icecrown. This one is very well known and has a lot more mob density, meaning you can pull more mobs in one pull, but they also respawn slower, and you want to have the entire island to yourself to make this one really worth it for you. This is the perfect farm for warlocks, paladins and warriors, even death knights, basically anyone with insane AoE damaging abilities as well as survival, because once again, due to the mob density, you want to min-max the pulls as much as possible, and do insane huge pulls for maximum efficiency. In terms of expected farming value, you're looking at 250 to 300 gold in raw gold if you vendor everything, and closer to 350 to 400 gold per hour if you use the auction house, basically the same as the previous farm. Number 8, prospecting / serenite shuffling. This used to be a very good and effective way to make gold in WOTLK Classic, and basically made you above 1k gold per hour for the majority of Wrath, until very recently when Blizzard decided to make blue rarity gems like Scarlet Rubies available for emblems, massively slashing the price of gems and therefore diminishing the value of prospecting and the Serenite Shuffle. That being said, prices have started to move up again, and you can reasonably expect at least 500 gold per hour simply standing in a city and mass prospecting, which is pretty decent. You can get even higher gold per hour numbers if you know what you're doing and include other professions like enchanting, and flip certain items into enchanting materials and / or even sell enchanting scrolls. Number 7, Maraudon Mithril farming. This is a gold farm I used a lot on the fresh Wrath servers, and with the prices of Mithril on regular Wrath servers, this farm has been doing quite well for the entirety of the Wrath expansion so far, and will continue to do so. The reason for this is simply that people are constantly leveling up alts and / or leveling up new professions, and Mithril is used in a lot of professions. Even some people leveling up mining usually resort to buying Mithril ores and melting them into bars for easy skill up points, rather than farming it themselves, so the demand right here is massive. Number 6, herbalism and mining in Northrend. This is a very easy and pretty consistent type of farm. I mean, you are farming materials in the new expansion that are constantly in demand to craft the gear used in Wrath, as well as consumables, plural, used within Wrath raiding. So the demand is very high, but the reality is that the supply is also very high, as this is a very popular way to farm gold due to the availability and the easiness of the farm. I mean, you literally fly around and pick flowers or mine mining nodes. It is easy AF. It is also heavily botted, which further diminishes its value, but still, if you're looking for consistent and decent gold farm with high sell rate, ensuring fast gold and fast return on your efforts here, this one could definitely be helpful. Number 5, herbalism and mining, but this time in Outland. I put this one above or further on the list than farming in Northrend, due to prices being higher on old content materials, which is due to simple supply versus demand and popularity metrics. Old expansion materials are still in demand due to people leveling up professions, and the supply is way lower due to less people thinking about farming old content. As a simple test, I tried herbalism and mining in Northrend compared to herbalism and mining in Shadowmoon Valley, which is a zone in Outland, and Northrend gave me 400 gold per hour, while Shadowmoon Valley clocked in at around 600 gold per hour. That being said, old content materials will sell slower, so if you're looking for very fast gold and you need the gold right now, you want to farm materials that sell quickly. Number 4, Mana-Tombs and the Botanica farming. Both of these dungeons are incredible for gold farming, as they give you a very healthy mix of raw gold and auctionable materials. In terms of raw gold, you're looking at 300 to 400 gold, as well as 300 to 200 gold in auctionable materials, giving you 500 to 700 gold per hour depending on your server, class and professions. For Mana-Tombs, having mining will get you roughly 100 gold extra per hour by mining the mining veins inside the dungeon, as well as mining the second boss for gems and ores. And for both dungeons, enchanting will give you extra gold by disenchanting low vendor green items and even boss loot, and selling enchanting materials on the auction house. Now, given that they are both inside dungeons, you also don't have to worry about competition like you would for open world gold farms. Number 3, dire Maul farming. The value of librams have been skyrocketing as they are used in the insane title and enchants for alts, and we are in a weird time in Wrath right now, where people have finished their initial rush to finish raiding and gearing up, and people are resorting to alternative activities like alt leveling and title hunting or achievement hunting, which has caused massive price spikes for items like these librams. You can even incorporate this into mining and herbalism farms inside Dire Maul to capitalize on your 5 runs per hour cap. This is a farm where RNG starts playing a part, because if you don't get any librams, the gold per hour value might be somewhat depressing, but if you get lucky and get a libram or two, that suddenly adds hundreds of gold to that specific run. Number 2, Golden Pearl farming. Golden Pearls have been insanely valuable throughout all of WOTLK Classic, as it's used in several enchants used by people leveling alts, specifically enchants usable for heirlooms. Another reason why this farm has gone up in price is due to supply versus demand. The demand is quite constant and supply is very low due to very low drop rates. That being said, this is farmed by vanilla mobs, and because we are level 80 right now, that gives us some very steady and chill gold farming opportunities, but you also have to consider this farm is very RNG. You could make literally 10 gold per hour if you are very unlucky, but you could also get 2 to 3 golden pearls per hour, giving you about 600 gold per hour, and you can get even more than that as well. And if you want to go out and farm some golden pearls, well, here are a couple of my personal favorite locations. So, number 1, Vanilla Dungeons, most notably Uldaman, Sulfarak and Scarlet Monastery. A lot of these dungeons will give you a steady 200 to 300 gold per hour, mixed between raw gold, professions and auctionable materials, as well as having the chance to drop items worth lots of gold. For example, Uldaman can drop very rare items worth up to 50,000 gold, which is quite insane by itself, and that means if you spend 50 hours to get one of those, that is 1000 gold per hour by itself. On top of that, Uldaman has some Mithril veins inside it, giving you some extra gold right there, and from all these dungeons, you also get a lot of wool cloth, silk cloth and mage weave cloth, which is currently selling for a decent price, and helps bring in steady gold while hunting for rare items. This one might be weird and controversial to some of you guys, but a lot of these rare items are selling right now as people buy them in advance, hoping that transmogging comes out in the future. But the fact is, they are selling right now, so no matter if you want to play Cataclysm or not, these items are selling right now due to other people hoping and preparing, giving you some interesting and high value gold farms to try out. And yeah, that's just about it. Once again, if you want to make as much gold as possible, check out my WOTLK Classic Gold Guide and join that private Discord server where I share early access to gold making, gold farming and investments videos, so you can take advantage of them before anyone else. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please consider dropping a like for the algorithm, subscribe for more classic WoW content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.